What was the best thing about the Capitol Audio Fest? What was some of the good rooms?
Oh man, there were quite a few good rooms. There was a room with, I think their company is now listed here. I think they're in Delaware. They had a room with some Vandersteins and the new DS Audio W3 optical cartridge in EMM Labs decoder. That was a great room.
Mm.
That was a good room. There was this other room with Lanche that had some speakers with like this plasma tweeter. That was a really good room. They had a reel to reel going in there too.
Nice.
There was two different
Plasma
QLN rooms
tweeter.
that were really good. One with their standard prestige series and another one with their signature series that was run with all gosh, what's the name of the Swedish company? Nagra. It was all Nagra
Oh,
in an NUO statement streamer. That room was really, really good. Um what else was there? There was the Fink. There was these like Fink like little bookshelves.
mm-hmm.
I never heard of the company before, but that setup with those little bookshelves was really good too. It was a bunch of good rooms, man. It was really done well. Klaus, I don't know if you know Klaus with Odyssey Audio.
Mm-mm.
He had a really nice setup with. They were using the same model turntable that I have in there. Same cartridge too. That room was really good.
Mm.
What were they? What records were they
Does
playing?
Klaus have the same haircut as Michael 45?
No.
Chris, what were
No,
they demoing?
I mean, a lot of them had different records or, that they could play, but you can bring records too and ask them to play stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're there and you really want to play around with analog, it's good to bring records because most of the people that are doing demos for digital, a lot of them are using stuff that's stored on their servers because
Right.
streaming in those kind of environments is not
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is
easy.
terrible there.
Yeah, the
Mm.
Wi-Fi is terrible. Everyone's
Yeah.
on it.
So,
Um,
so Chris, did you have a chance to see the Andrew Jones new speakers at MoFi?
no, I wasn't. No, I
Very,
heard
very
about it,
crowded, right?
but I didn't go to that room.
How much are
Was,
those?
was it crowded?
I think it's like
The
60,
show,
no, 30,
yeah, I went on
600.
Friday and Sunday. It was pretty crowded on Friday. Not bad though. Like you can get the sweet spot and stuff like that. I heard Saturday was even busier, but I tend to go on Friday to
Yeah.
kind of see like what rooms I want, and then
Right.
Sunday I'll go back and listen to like some of the rooms that I really wanted to target because they'll make tweaks throughout the weekend. Because you got to remember like they're putting these systems in like little hotel rooms
Mm.
or like
Mhm.
big. Some of them might have like divided up like bigger rooms, but it's not the best situation. But some of those rooms though, man, they tweaked that shit. Man, it was some rooms that were like really, really incredible. So on Sunday, I brought records with me and demoed some records in a bunch of rooms.
I've never
Hey
gone
guys,
to any.
I'm gonna take off, guys.
All right,
All right.
Rob, good to see you, bro.
Hey, Rob.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
Hi,
I got to
Rob.
head out too. Actually, I got to head out too. So
Right.
Hi,
Nice.
man.
we're West Coast. We go to sleep early on the West Coast.
Sure.
Take care. Thanks again, everyone. Nice seeing
Thank
you.
you, Mazzy.
Later,
Good
Mazzy.
to see you.
Bye.
Yeah, but I highly recommend like if anybody like wants
It's
to go
really
and
cool.
check out stuff to
It's
go
great,
to like an audio show near them.
Can you listen to like do people have like a Braxis the one step? Like,
I took that with me on Sunday, and I went
Oh, you
to
had
the
that?
first
Oh,
room I
cool.
went to with it was the that room with the Vandersteen speakers and that new DS Audio W3 cartridge, and it was like surround sound, and it was crazy. I was hearing stuff like back here. It was nuts, man.
Wow.
That setup and the turntable. I mean, we got to remember that like pricing, right, is all relative, right? What is expensive and what is not expensive. But relatively speaking, the turntable was not a very expensive turntable in ARM. It was the same turntable that Poetry on Plastic uses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the pure fidelity, I think it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
It was
beautiful.
that turntable. I don't remember what ARM they were using, but the cartridge is not a cheap cartridge though. The cartridge and decoder is very expensive.
Yeah.
But man, that room, that was like probably one of my favorite rooms, man. It was really, really good. Really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like I need to go to one of these things just so I can hear music that I've never heard one of those systems. I mean, like ever.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is too, like, there's gonna be, I mean, there's good systems at all price ranges, right? But some of these systems are just like just incredibly expensive. Like,
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
I'd like
you'll
to have
find
a frame of
that
reference.
most
though.
expensive rooms are not the best sounding.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd like to have a frame of reference of what like a $50,000 setup sounds like, right? As an example.
Yeah.
And then, not spend $50,000, but buy stuff that gets me close to that sound that I heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find too, at least in my experience, as you spend more and more and more, the benefit that you're getting, or like how much better it gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Exactly.
Right. So like
yeah.
you go from like a $500 pair of speakers to a $5,000 pair of speakers. Like that's a massive jump in like sound quality that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But you go from like a
$5,000
pair of speakers to a $25,000 pair of speakers, and it's like a much smaller jump in terms of what you're getting.
Yeah, that's what's called the law of diminishing returns.
It is, the law of diminishing returns is definitely real, and you also get to a point where it's more different than it is better or worse, right? Because there's nothing out there that's gonna give you everything. Like that Vandersteen room, it did everything except the mids were just a tiny bit thin.
Yeah.
But like if you want to get like the best mids, you have to give up something. It's like a give or take. Like you're never gonna find anything that does everything right.
Yeah.
Like the QLN room, the sound stage was massive. Like the width, the depth of it, the detail, the accuracy, but the bass was there, but just wasn't as tight, like and just not as quick. Like, but you have to give something up. Like if you want like bass that's like super fast and tight and punchy, then you really want to look for like a seal box design versus ported, right? But going to a seal box design, depending on what and how they make it, in the cabinet structure, you may lose other things. So it's like
and that in a sense won't matter if you're using solid state or tubes.
Exactly, man. It's that room with the plasma. Dude, that room with those, I think it was Lanche with the plasma. It's like basically there's no tweeter material. Like when you first get the speaker, they heat it up to like 600 degrees or something, and it forms this plasma membrane for the tweeter. So the tweeter itself is like weightless, right? It's not moving like the material to produce sound. It was incredible, right?
Yeah.
But then you like look at the components they're using. Dude, they were using two mono blocks on each side. So 4 mono blocks, and each mono block had, I think, 8 300B tubes.
Yeah.
Like it's just incredibly expensive just for the tubes, let alone like the equipment. Like it was just
I mean,
Chris,
to start with 300B is the best sound ever. I mean, I think there's nothing better than 300B.
What for the mids though, for mids and vocals, right? Like, but you start to lose other things, like when you're, you know what I mean? Like I feel like tubes don't have that tight bass, right?
No,
like
they don't.
You don't get the
nature,
speed, right? So you get that warmth, you get, so it's always give or take.
I mean, even in speakers now, if you look at more contemporary, people are now going back to making paper dome. Woofers, silver dome. They're stepping away from polymers, from titanium. They're going back to these materials.
Yeah, I mean, there's also companies that still like Audio Note. They use like paper cone drivers and hemp cone drivers. And I will tell you, like, an Audio Note system done well will give you like beautiful texture. Like you want to hear like strings get plucked and hear the belly of the instrument, like that Audio Note. Like, I used to have a pair of their bookshelves, which was the only one of their speakers that was a seal box design. But to this day, like that was like the best representation of like actual texture in like string instruments that I've heard. But I mean, you lose other things. Like the vocals weren't the best. Like I feel like Harvest, the equivalent in that speaker in a Harvest did better for like the vocals in mid range. So yeah.
Do you guys do you listen to any electrostatic speakers?
I did at the show.
What do you think about those?
I did at the show, but I am not the biggest fan of electrostatic speakers. Only because I have yet to come across a set of electrostatic speakers that really gives that depth.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like you get very good speed. You get detail. It's like very punchy, kind of like in your face. But I feel like you don't get like that depth in the sound stage. I don't know why that is, but that's just my experience. But there were some really good ones that were there. But I think, again, it kind of comes down to like your preference and what you like and what kind of presentation speaks to you.
Exactly.
You know, for me,
Go
real quick, I kind of agree with Danny. He's talking about it's hard to be an audiophile and a vinyl collector.
Yeah.
So
actually, there's a great video. John DeVore put a great video today about being audiophile and record collector. He talks exactly about this. So you guys check that out. And I think, Chris, I agree with you. I think electrostatic is very perfect, very precise, but you need a lot of power to drive them. You need like at least 100 watts, at least a really good 100 watt.
I think more than that, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in my experience,
they're like usually 2 ohm, right? They're going to be like usually 2 ohm speakers.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about. I don't know about that in terms of what their sense like the ohm rating is for them, whether it's 2 or 4 or whatever. But I feel I do agree with you on the amount of power that they need.
You need a lot of
but
power.
I also feel like with, at least in my experience so far, like with some of the speakers, depending on the sensitivity, like especially with something like in the 80s, like the more power you have and the more your amplifier can just kind of like cruise and not really be pushed, like it's just better. You know,
need power and they're great. But to my experience, I like horns better because they have that flash, they have that human thing.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
All right, I'm gonna head out, guys. Thank you so much. It was awesome as always. I wish I could have drank tonight like last week, but I have to pick up my son from work. It's a lot more fun when you get to drink beers with you guys. But thank you so much. Have a great night.
Pleasure to have you again. Thanks for coming.
Now, Felipe, you have I don't know. Maybe it was your system. Do you have the NAD?
I have an NAD. I'm actually a transition process. I have an NAD. I have 2 amps. 2 amps. I have a NAD 380H. It's a Class D.
Yeah.
And upstairs in my bedroom, I have a Marantz 69. It's a Model 22, 40 watts per channel.
Yeah.
That's Class A or Class A?
Class AB. AB. And that suite has an amazing sound.
I need to get my Marantz rebuilt. I got my my dad's Marantz, and I'm gonna get it fixed after the
Man, Chris, my dad has an old Marantz too, but I can't pry it from his hands. He won't let it go.
Mine passed away, and I got it. Finally, it was actually in his will that I got the damn thing. So.
No, that stuff is great. And so, Chris, I actually I bought a new pair of speakers like a few months ago. It's still in the warehouse because I'm moving, so it's going to ship to my new house.
Oh, what'd you get?
And the guy that built my speakers, he was actually at the Capitol Audiofest.
Oh, who?
He was with Border Patrol, Volti. He makes horns.
I don't think I went to that room.
It's like handmade in Tennessee.
Oh.
What's the name of the speakers?
Volti, VOLTI.
Oh, I think I did go to that room. Hold on, let me see what they look like.
He was with Border Patrol.
I don't remember Border Patrol, but I do remember seeing this this name and logo. Let me see which ones, which speakers.
I got the RAS.
The RAS.
Yeah.
I think he was at. No, I don't think I saw these.
Yeah, and I'm looking into tubes now.
Yeah.
To pair with them.
Yeah, how sensitive are these with the horns in that 12-inch woofer? Is probably pretty sensitive, right?
They're close to 100. Yeah, close to 100.
Yeah. What are you looking for in terms of tubes?
So amps, I'm looking into. I know a guy that has a store, and I'm probably gonna get his demo unit, a Japanese 11, the CX600.
What tubes does that one run?
Uh,
The 6HC.
I think I can't remember enough from the top of my head, but you can use different tubes
Okay.
for the power stage. Yes.
My whole system's worth about $50.
You might as well go 300 Bs, man.
Yeah. In Philadelphia, it's worth $50.
So the best sound I've ever heard in my life is the 300B, the Japanese, the airtight.
Yeah. Airtight is really good.
But that stuff is like $20,000.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Lavelle. I used to have Prima Luna. I had two of the Dialogue HP mono blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was my room. Man, my room is only like 9x9, and each Dialogue HP mono block had 8 tubes. So I was running 16 tubes in there plus a preamp. In the summertime, man, you'd be sweating in here trying to listen to a record. It was just way too much. So I let them go. But man, if you do go with Prima Luna, the let me know. There's Svetlana, their wing C's. You have to go for a specific date year. Anything prior to 2010 are still good tubes. They're harder to find, but those 6550 wing C's are incredible, man. That's like the best tube you can use. I mean, to me, outside of going to 300B, but going to 300B, you're really bringing down the amount of wattage. So you need speakers that are super, sensitive.
Yeah, and Chris, a good American brand that makes amazing integrated power amps is Carry Audio.
Oh yeah. Carry Audio is good. Conrad Johnson, McGarry. I think McGarry and Conrad Johnson are actually in the DMV area, the Washington D.C. area. DMV. Yeah. I like the Prima Luna stuff because you can kind of play around with tubes. It has the auto biasing, so you don't really have to worry about like doing the manual biasing for the tubes.
Yeah.
But
they have auto bias. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only tubes I ever messed with is in ham radios. Those are a pain in the ass, though, man. I've got an old ham radio from the '60s that's a bitch to tune.
Yeah, I'm done.
The more modern shit. The more modern shit is all solid state, so it's just like if you have 100 watts or 500 watts, that's what you got to push your signal out, right?
Yeah.
But it's an old Japanese tube one. It's like 100 watts, which is pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have the fucking tubes tuned right, you'll be pushing 1 watt. Like it's like micro adjustments to tune the fucking thing. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I only have tubes in my phono stage now. I get I'm all solid state.
Yeah, and I think phono stage is it should be solid state because of the noise, the heat. It doesn't make much sense. It's very sensitive to being because everything is generated by tubes, so it's better to have a solid state for phonoing.
I agree to a certain extent. I think it just depends on the design of the phono stage.
True.
I'm using the audio research, and I love it. But I can see where you're coming from with that for sure.
Yeah, most of the designs they're going to be kind of defeat the purpose.
Yeah. When are you moving and getting your new speakers?
Next month.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm very excited. They've been in the warehouse since July. Greg has been very nice holding the speakers there for me.
Are you doing like a dedicated room?
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Then me and Mike are gonna fly
down. Do you
down
stream
there.
as well, or are you all analog?
I have a streamer, but I don't listen to it at all. Just analog.
Yeah, I sold my streamer and DAC and everything probably a week or two ago,
Hmm.
and just all analog now. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it.
So this NAD here is a very good streamer. It's all Blue sound system.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I might just hook up to the TV, play TV sound, and stream using some bookshelves that I have
Yeah,
for the living room and stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah,
in my room, yeah, it's gonna be those speakers with tubes.
nice. What
I have a
table do
really
you have?
fancy deck here. Want to see my fancy deck?
You're fine.
And I've got a little speaker cable I can plug into it.
So that's the thing. That's the thing about DAC, right? Rob was telling you, "Oh, I'm listening to Apple Lossless to the Elvin Jones record." No, he
Mhm.
wasn't, because everything gets funneled to the DAC on his phone, and he's listening to low resolution anyways, no matter how good the stream is.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, no, it sounds good, but if you put like in a Mola $10,000 deck, it's gonna sound even
Yeah,
better.
it sounds good till it doesn't.
Yeah.
What are you doing for your table and arm and cartridge and stuff?
Techniques at 1200 with the black.
Ortofon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that. I mean, and I have two techniques. You can tell the difference in the sound. The 1200 is much more grittier, louder than the 1610 that I have. I like both. I might keep just one. I want to go. I just like this direct drive concept. It's much easier to drive, and you can
Mhm.
swap the head shells.
Mhm. Yeah. I imagine that's
I love my
nice.
1200s, man. I got
That's the best thing
two.
about
It's an amazing. It's an amazing
switching
deck.
out.
Yeah, when I decided to do mono, like I'm adding another arm.
But is it a pain to adjust the weight when you swap out, or you just remember what it is?
Now,
Or do you guys measure when you swap?
one thing you can do, Mike, for example, what I did to my cartridges, I have a mono and the stereo cartridge. They are both orthophones, so the same height, the same everything.
Mhm.
So what I did, you can get a little piece of how's it called? Epoxy, for example.
Mhm.
Weight each card. Put a piece of epoxy in the lightest card. They're gonna have the same weight.
Mm.
Make sense?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Like a Durapox or Aldite or whatever. Just mix it up, get a little bit, stick to the cartridge. They're gonna have the same weight.
So instead of
Speaking
making,
of weight, do
instead
you
of
guys
making cartridge weights.
set your cartridge weights in the middle of where they're calibrated for, or do you go heavy or light?
Mine doesn't have a range. My cartridge just says I think 2 grams. So I just
Oh.
set it at 2 grams.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. So the orthophones, they have a range. I say the black goes from 14 to 17. They recommend 15.
15 what?
Grams.
1.5 gram.
5, okay.
Yeah. So
Damn.
yeah. The mono goes from, I think it's like 14 to 18.
Mhm.
So recommended is 16. So I balanced them both, so now they have the same weight. So I just use everything at 17, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I just have to swap the head shell. But I mean, even if you don't balance them, all you have to do, because they have the same height, you just turn the weight a little bit.
The weight, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it matters if you go heavy or light? I guess, Chris, you're just at what they're telling you to go at.
Yeah.
So there's not a range. But do you think, like, for the black, like, there's an instance where you want to go light?
I think
I
in
would-
the poor sounded records, if you're punching too hard with the cartridge, you're gonna hear the defects. It's gonna be noisier a little bit, but a good record is gonna sound noiseless, anyways.
You know what I want to do? I want to so you'll see like my setup here in my office, right? I've got this old ass amp, not old, but just like a cheap Onkyo amp. I would like to find a small integrated amp in here that I could just use for my speakers, so I can put my second turntable there, and I can have
The Blue Sound, the Blue Sound amp. It's small, the sound of a streamer. It's a great amp. It's a Class G, but it's a great amp. It's a Blue Sound.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Let me see.
I guess I could just put it on top of it. And see
Yeah.
what's up.
Chris, did you have someone come set up your turntable for you, or did you do it yourself? Because it sounds like we're talking pretty serious gear here.
Oh,
So I
I
set it up, but I had someone come in to because they have like a computer, like it works like a Microsoft Surface tablet where they can connect into the outputs of the phono preamp, and then they can dial in VTA and azimuth and all of those things, like to get closer and closer to what like you would consider to be perfect. But when he came, I pretty much had aligned the cartridge in terms of the cartridge in the head shell. It was almost perfect. He didn't change that at all. So we really adjusted azimuth, VTA. The weight was fine. I adjusted the weight, and anti-skate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like about those techniques. You can adjust everything.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, before we talk anything of that, if the table is not level, nothing matters.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you definitely need to have it level. That's like your foundation right there.
Yeah, because if you're not level, everything is going to be off.
Yeah, that's true.